All right. We are live. It is Aloha Friday, November 1st. And I am the Salty Boomer. And we are going to go over news and views. We're going to scroll Twitter. And then we're going to scroll my favorite news site and see what's going on in the news and see what's going on in current events and talk about it. So let's blow this screen up a little bit so you can see it better. There we go. That's better. And without further ado, let's go see what's going on X. Tim Murdaugh. As hard as it is to believe, Kamala Harris's closing argument is defending the honor of Liz Cheney. Yeah, the leftist is suddenly taking a loving to the war hawk, Liz Cheney. Tim continues, seriously, she is ending her campaign on this note, meaning she thinks it is the most important issue facing voters. Well, that's because the leftists don't know what the voters want. They only care about their platform, LGBTQ, drag queens in kindergarten, abortions, and open borders so they can import new voters because they've lost the battle of ideas. So, yeah, I'm not surprised that she is standing up for Liz Cheney, the war hawk. They can have her. The Republicans soundly got rid of her last year or 2 years ago. A vax versus unvax study. Pediatrician Dr. Paul Thomas had his license revoked after releasing this vaccine study to the public showing vaccinated children have significantly higher rates of chronic health conditions, including autism, than children who are unvaccinated. And there's more and more of this coming to the front. Let's take a cherry picking what he says here. The volume up here. And here we go, Dr. Paul Thomas.
Okay. We were definitely looking at every single patient born in my practice. There was no cherry picking. There was no, we're going to exclude you for this or that. Every baby born was looked at, and we looked at every single office visit. We stratified them according to the number of vaccines they had.
Okay.
So basically we had over 500 who had 0 vaccines, and then we had another 3,700 and some who had some vaccines. And what we found, Del, was actually even mind-boggling for myself. I mean, I had a sense, I've had a practice now for 14 years where parents get to decide. The one thing I am absolute on is informed consent. You, the parent, get to decide what gets injected into your baby, if anything. Right. You should always insist on that or else walk out of that doctor's office. But because we do informed consent, we had a growing number of unvaccinated patients. And what I was clearly seeing was these kids don't get sick. They don't get chronic conditions. Well, the data spoke for itself. And you're showing your viewers the graphs. Those orange lines are over time, over that 10.5 years, the more vaccines you had, the worse you were for whether we looked at infections, ADD, ADHD, neurodevelopmental issues, eczema, allergies. It doesn't matter what we looked at, even just plain old anemia skyrockets in the vaccinated when compared to the blue line, the unvaccinated.
Wow.
This data is so powerful that within 5 days of it being available online, they yanked my license. December 3rd, 2020, the Oregon Medical Board had an emergency meeting, suspended my license. I was supposedly a threat to public health.
Yeah, well, this is the same old story. You know, silence the opposition. That's what they do. They've lost the battle of ideas. There's no, this guy did his own study of his own patients. He's not making this stuff up. Parents, get informed consent. All right, carrying on. Let's see what kind of stuff we got going on here. Let's see what Brian from High Impact Flick says. Both Trump and Biden grossly violated the 4 simple words of freedom. Shall not be infringed. Kamala is also a dastardly infringer. Yeah, agree. One thing about that, people often get confused by thinking the Constitution is what gives us our rights. No, we are granted our rights when we're born. What the Constitution does is protect the government from infringing on those rights. Excuse me. That's what the Constitution is for. It's to keep the government from infringing upon our rights that we are born with. Let's see. What's this? The Daniel Carter Bridge connecting Cincinnati and Kentucky is now shut down and said to have structural damage to the steel due to a car fire that took place underneath the bridge. What kind of fire burns so hot it damages the steel of a bridge? I know, Renee, I know. That would be an electric car battery fire. Excuse me, a frog in my throat here today. Yeah, that would be an electric car battery fire that would burn so hot that it could damage steel beams on a bridge. Electric cars are unsustainable and they are an environmental nightmare. And I think the future, within 5 years, electric cars will be looked at as stupid. The future is magnetic energy. I keep posting on X to Elon. Come on, Elon. The future is magnetic energy. Let's get on it. He hasn't responded. The nebulizers are buzzing in most of the patient rooms in these facilities. Reports are coming in from nurses across the state. I don't know what this is referencing. Let's see what else she has to say. I don't know what that means. So we will move on. J-Lo going for Kamala. PDB says nobody I knew growing up was autistic. I was born in 78. Yeah, I was born in 56, and I didn't know anybody either. Maybe a couple of rough boys, but they all turned into hardworking family men. Now, countless people I know dealing with autism. Gee, I wonder what it's from. U.S. intelligence officials. Russian influence actors responsible for video falsely claiming election fraud in Georgia. Is that the same U.S. intelligence officials that told us that the Hunter Biden laptop was not real and that Russia interfered with our election in 2016, only to find out later that that was Hillary Clinton's own team that paid for that study? Is that the intelligence officials you're talking about? I don't believe them. They have lost all credibility. When you lie to the people over and over again, they tend not to trust you anymore. Okay, a little joke about P. Diddy there. Oh, Hodge Twins talking about Gavin McInnes, who was banned on X for some reason. It's one of the last remaining free speech platforms, but it's not perfect. They still ban people. Mark Longo has just revealed that the New York Department of Environmental Conservation euthanized his cherished pet squirrel, Peanut. This innocent creature was taken from him, where he had lovingly raised it since it was a baby, after its mother got hit by a car. So they took it and euthanized it? I wonder why. Mark used the squirrel's viral popularity to raise funds for animal sanctuaries. Imagine, without any legal basis like a search warrant, the government barged into his home, stole Peanut, his pet squirrel, and in just 48 hours ended the life of this harmless, beloved pet. Well, thank goodness they got to the bottom of that, and they got rid of this guy's squirrel that he had for a pet. Because you can't have stuff like this going on. Are you kidding me? No. Instead of worrying about real crime done by real people, no. They're going to go ahead and go after this guy's squirrel, who he has raised since a baby. That's our law enforcement for you, folks. And that is what they do. Cops are the enforcement arm of the tyrants in government. Phil Kirpin says, I don't even like Trump all that much. He gave us Fauci and Birx. But my God, do I hate the people who smear him all day long with never ending hoaxes. Trump's enemies are the best reason to vote for him. I think that's happening to a lot of people, Phil. Their claims about him are so outrageous and ridiculous that normal critical thinking people go, what are these people talking about? And their followers live in such a bubble that they can't see outside of anything beyond their confirmation bias and their anchoring bias. Scott Adams says the best thing about the latest Trump hoax, the Liz Cheney one, is that you know the news people spreading it don't believe it. And that tells you who the fakes are. That is super useful. Yeah, the news media, the mainstream media is busy right now putting the final nail in their coffin as to people believing them or trusting them. We, the people, are the media now. People just like you and I. We have a phone in our hand and we can document everything that goes on, post it on X, and it travels around the world before the mainstream media can put their propaganda spin on it. And they're losing their control of it, and they don't like it. It'll be even better after next Tuesday. Here's the secret strategy, says Mark Elias. Kamala Harris will win the election. Donald Trump will lie about it. His lawyers will file frivolous lawsuits. They will lose. Republicans will spend the next 4 years concocting crazy conspiracy theories. So, Mark Elias is a big leftist. They always throw this conspiracy theory in there whenever they want to shame somebody and make them look ridiculous. The CIA came up with that term for the Kennedy assassination. That's where that comes from. Here's the difference, Mark Elias. People are recording and documenting it in real time. It won't have to be an after the fact, hopefully a judge will see it kind of thing. It's happening on X in real time. There goes your story. Cliff High says, how is everyone doing? Feeling it? That's the unreleased building emotional tension. The normies in my area are wound up so tight that they can't even fart. It just comes out as a high-pitched whistle. All the dogs in your area are really confused. Yeah, the leftists are twisting themselves into a major knot that's going to go off like a time bomb after next Tuesday. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. has announced that he will advise Trump to ban Big Pharma from advertising on TV. What? Did RFK Jr. watch my show last week when I was ranting about how, just like cigarettes, I think I said alcohol at the time, it's cigarette companies, tobacco cannot advertise. Neither should pharma be able to advertise. And I hope that happens. Okay, when writing to his employees, David Bernard, the CEO of Houston Methodist Baytown Hospital, stated 100% vaccination is more important than your individual freedom. Every one of you is replaceable. If you do not like what you're doing, you can leave, and we will replace your spot. And then they have the nerve to say that you were not forced to take the vaccination. So, like I was saying before, many places, including this Houston Methodist Baytown Hospital, require vaccination for employment, as well as many institutions and universities all across the country. However, the border is wide open. What about them? What about the people that we don't even know who they are? There is no vetting going on. They're just walking across the border. I believe David Bernard would be quite upset that they're not vaccinated. But no one says anything about that. Okay, yeah, J-Lo lecturing people to vote for Kamala. Let's see what God said. This woman, J-Lo, is an affront to human dignity. Many lowly people who have worked with her say she is one of the most insufferable so called celebrities. I would venture to say most of them are like that. She knows nothing. I read more this morning than she probably has in her entire life. But she is lecturing all of you, deplorables, rubes, plebes, the great unwashed, the garbage of society. Make sure to vote for whomever is the competitor what this imbecile is selling. Yeah, well, you know what's going on. All the Diddy party goers have to come out and support Kamala. Part of their duties as being club members. Remember when all these actors got on webcam and sang on off tune Imagine during the first week of the COVID psyop? Yeah, I do. I do. This looks like one nervous panel of idiots. They're doing what they're told. When you're in the club, you have to do what you're told. It's been 3 days since America learned that Colorado Secretary of State Jenna Griswold leaked all the passwords to voting machines, and she hasn't posted once about it. Why? Because it's a Class 5 felony, and anything she says can and will be used against her in a court of law. Tick-tock, Jenna. Yeah, maybe you'll be in jail next to Tina Peters, who should be set free. Bill Kristol. Here's a rhino if you ever heard one, and rhino means Republican in name only. The former vice president has refused to endorse the president with whom he served. Wow, what a shocker, Bill. An unprecedented dynamic in the nation's history. It's hardly unjust for Trump's critics to ask, if his own vice president isn't supporting him, why should you? Let me think about that. Because he's a rhino piece of shit? I think that's probably the reason. He's a backstabbing plant from you rhinos. Let's see, what do all these celebrities have in common? Well, looks like they all have in common P. Diddy. You know what else they all have in common? They are all told to go out there and show their support for Kamala. There are no coincidences, folks. No coincidences. A mom is looking for alternatives to drug-based pain relievers. What do you recommend? I don't know. A little out of my area. For those who claim to believe Trump called for Liz Cheney's execution rather than saying she, like many in D.C., cheer wars because she never fights them, yeah, that's what he was doing. In case you haven't heard about it, I'm sure you have. It's all over the news today. What Trump says is she's a radical war hawk. Let's put her in with a rifle standing there with 9 barrels shooting at her, okay? Let's see how she feels about it. You know, when the guns are trained on her face. He continued by expressing disdain for those in Washington who wanted to see the United States involved in foreign conflicts. I think right now, everybody all over the world has war fatigue. We're tired of wars. We know what they're about now. It's only about profits for the bankers. They run both sides of any wars. And you know who I'm talking about. It's the nation of Israel, who is the only nation that is not allowed, that doesn't have to register to give money to our politicians. The only nation on earth that can just freely give money to politicians with nobody knowing about it. They do not have to register as a foreign agent. So Trump continues. You know, they're all war hawks when we're sitting in Washington in a nice building saying, oh, gee, well, let's send 10,000 troops right into the mouth of the enemy. Yeah, that's what he was talking about, Cheney. You want to go to war so bad? Get out there with your rifle. Standing there with 9 barrels shooting at you. How are you going to feel about that when they're all trained in you? They don't care that they're sending your children off to die so that they can profit from both sides of the war. And that's how it's worked from day one. This is why I say the people of America and around the world have war fatigue. We're over it. We're done with it. We're not sending our young people to be killed in your wars anymore, Liz Cheney. The CDC just added 3 COVID shots to the childhood vaccine schedule for babies at 6 months with 0 scientific data. The CDC is one of the organizations that's going to go down too. They're not a government organization. They are a for-profit vaccine company. They hold 20 patents for vaccines. You know that? Yeah. The Centers for Disease Creation and Promotion. That's what CDC is. And remember, YouTube, my channel is complete satire. Nothing I say on this channel is true, as I am a known liar. It is the rantings of a lunatic straight from my imagination. Okay. Well, here we go. He says about Liz Cheney.
She kills people. She wanted to, even in my administration, she was pushing that we go to war with everybody. And I said, if you ever gave her a rifle and let her do the fighting, if you ever do that, she wouldn't be doing too well, I will tell you right now. But she's a war hawk. She wants to go kill people unnecessarily. And if she had to do it herself and she had to face the consequences of battle, she wouldn't be doing it. So it's easy for her to talk, but she wouldn't be doing it.
Exactly. The people that bang the drums for war certainly aren't going to fight them. Happening now, a frazzled and exhausted Kamala is trying to talk to some worker union guys who look incredibly annoyed by her endless word salad. Do we have time to listen to another endless word salad from Kamala? Let's see what she has to say.
Part of the thing that I'm trying to help people, not who are here, obviously, not the leaders who are here, but others understand, is if you're trying to kind of figure out what the stakes are, just imagine the Oval Office, we've all seen it on TV, and just imagine on January 20th. Part of the thing that
Well, apparently she didn't say nothing. Of course, that's what her word salad is all about. I've never seen a candidate that is more incompetent, more of an empty vessel than Kamala Harris. I can't even wrap my head around someone like her is even in this position to become president. Toronto is getting a restaurant where all the food is made by chefs living with HIV. Sure, why wouldn't you? Canada is gone. Canada is captured. Canada is going to change their name to India soon. Yep, just like I was saying before, the Diddy crew coming out hard for Kamala. J-Lo is voting for Kamala because she doesn't want to go to prison. They're not fooling anyone anymore. There's just post after post after post about this. Okay, Speaker Johnson said something that Keith Olbermann doesn't like. Imagine that. This guy is so awkward. This Tim Walz character. I don't know. Whatever. Okay. Petey wondered a while back, why do cyclists always dress like they're in some huge event? And his record for a viral post was 18 million and was me talking about stopping illegal immigration into Europe. Now that record might be broken by a cyclist dressed for the Tour de France doing a fagotronic roundhouse kick. The internet is wild. Yeah, I always wondered that too. Why do people that ride a bicycle have to dress up like they're in the Tour de France? I don't understand it. It's they put a costume on, and then this guy gives a kick. This guy didn't even flinch. Look at this. He doesn't even. He doesn't even flinch. Meanwhile, the superhero in the bike uniform is going to show him what it's all about. Harry Fisher says we should not only show an ID, but have to pass a simple test in order to vote. Yeah, and the question will be, are there more than two genders? Yes or no? Yeah, that you could just leave it at that. And even if it's yes, you don't get the vote. But you need an ID. Okay, well, we know where Brian stands on all that. We'll see on Tuesday, won't we? After the newest hoax from the left that Trump called for Liz Cheney to be executed, Trump absolutely destroys her. Okay, that's what we just listened to, although you could hardly hear it. So what he actually said, in case you didn't hear it, was she's a war hawk. If she had to face the consequences of battle, she wouldn't be doing it. She was actually a disgrace. Yeah, I mean, that's always the case. The bankers send your children to war to die for them so they can profit. They run both sides of every war, and they always have. All right, Barb McQuaid says, don't kid yourselves. A second Trump term will be nothing like the first. It will be far worse. You mean lower grocery prices, energy independent, a military we can be proud of, a secure and closed border, vetting only those that we want to come into the country? You mean worse like that? Yeah, let's have some more worse like that. Okay, who's this? All right, first of all, that's probably a man, but let's see what Anastasia wants you to be in order to be with her. If you are abundant and make $300,000 a year, have built at least a $4,000 a month in passive assets and are just getting started, are good with children and would be excited to co-parent my toddler, and are open to 1 to 2 more kids, you can work from anywhere and are down to work and live abroad. You apologize easily and would happily do therapy if it helped our relationship win. You tell the truth and you want long-term love. Boy, I bet they're banging down the doors to get to this 41-year-old. Oh, my goodness. All right, Katie Appleseed says we're fucked either way, so I don't care who wins, but I'm kind of curious how this election will play out. I have a feeling there's going to be big-time shenanigans. The big-time shenanigans already happening. Does anyone else find it interesting, says Fletch17, that out of nowhere, Buzz Aldrin comes out publicly and endorses Trump? Also, search his profile for names Trump and Obama. Let me know what you find. Buzz is dying for people to see the joke, but they won't. I legit like Buzz. This is coming from Owen Benjamin, the comedian. He does one of the most amazing things ever, and very few people can even see it. He's literally begging people to see it, but they have to see it themselves. Without eyes to see, you can't force it, but he wants people to see it. Such a legend, but it's so bittersweet to be the greatest comedian ever, and everyone just believes the joke. And the joke is going to the moon. Let's see what he says about it. Buzz Aldrin supposedly went to the moon.
Let's look at the photo. You say that's me? Okay, check out the name badge. It says Aldrin. Looks like you're right. But notice the helmet. Can you see my face? No. This is a secret I've been keeping for almost half a century. On July 20th, 1969, Neil Armstrong and I pulled off humanity's first extraterrestrial prank.
What was the scariest moment of the journey?
Scariest? It didn't happen. It could have been scary.
Why has no
Don't think he's kidding here. He's not. They set him up that first one like supposed to be funny. They always tell you what they're actually thinking, remember? Then this little 8-year-old girl asked him, why has nobody?
nobody been to the moon in such a long time?
That's not an 8-year-old's question. That's my question. I want to know, but I think I know. Because we didn't go there, and that's the way it happened. And if it didn't happen, it's nice to know why it didn't happen, so in the future, if we want to keep doing something, we need to know why something stopped in the past that we wanted to keep it going. Money is a good thing. If you want to buy new things, new rockets, instead of keep doing the same thing over, then it's going to cost more money. And other things need more money too.
Yeah, other things need more money too. He's talking about NASA and their $60 million plus per day budget. $60 million, more than $60 million per day. NASA is a money laundering agency.
So having achieved what the president wanted us to do, and then what thousands, millions of people in America, and millions of people around the world. You know, when we toured around the world after we came back, the most fascinating observation was signs that said, we did it. Not just us, not just America, but we, the world, different countries. They felt like they were part of what we were able to do. And that made us feel very good.
Yeah, old Buzz spilling the beans there. Wow, dude. What is this? Oh, I hit the wrong button there. Sorry. Well, you know what? I'm going to change it up a little bit today, and we're going to go to my favorite news site, which is citizensfreepress.com. We're going to look at some of the headlines and see what's going on here on this fine Friday afternoon, or possibly Friday night, or whatever time it is where you're at. It's Aloha Friday where I'm at. Michael Pruser has Nevada early voting update. This is really bad for Democrats. Let's see what this is all about. And of course, it takes us right back to X. Just like I said, that's where the news is. Michael Pruser says, what you see recorded through today in Arizona drops first, starting at 11 p.m. Tuesday night, followed by a dusting of Election Day in-person vote and possibly some additional late arriving mail. Any ballot dropped off on Election Day will not be counted on Tuesday as it requires processing, signature verification, etc. Additional late arriving mail on Monday and Tuesday also needs time. I don't know what he's... Well, that was like a giant nothing burger. Okay, let's go back to Citizens Free Press and see what's going on besides that nothing burger. All right, here we have it. Arizona numbers are insane. Republicans now lead by 180,000 ballots, heading to 200,000 ballots more than what the Democrat ballots are. We already hit 67% of the total expected vote. So this was what I was talking about. Making this thing so big, there's no possible chance that they can find enough votes to overturn it. Okay, there's all kinds of registration updates, and I'm sure they're all pretty much saying the same thing as Arizona. So many people are voting early in Nevada, they ran out of paper. Latinos are breaking for Trump. The CARE national poll of Muslim voters showed that Jill Stein is beating Kamala. That's embarrassing. All right. Trump campaign files FEC complaint against Kamala. Let's see. Nate Silver makes his prediction. Let's go ahead and see what this one is. Okay, polling Nostradamus Nate Silver says others are lying about election forecasts. Nate Silver went into a tirade about how pollsters are lying to people about the results just days before the election. He says it's at 55 to 45, Trump wins. Yeah, it could be. I think it's even way more than that. But you got to factor in what they're going to do shenanigan-wise. Okay, these are always interesting. People have ruined Thanksgiving. And of course, here we go, back to X. Here's a mother. A mother with her kids steals the entire bowl. Almost everybody has Ring camera now, and yet these people will still go ahead, and this was a mom. There she is. She takes the entire bowl and just walks off. I mean, is that really necessary, Mom? Crazy. Okay, let's see what else we got here. White House altered Biden official transcript without permission. All eyes on the Supreme Court. Let's see what this one says about Jenna Griswold. She's the one that leaked the passwords to the voting machines. And of course, bam, right back on X. The evidence strongly indicates you've committed a felony. You helped put Tina Peters in prison for 9 years for much less. Yes, she did. It's crazy, but she did. She put this Tina Peters woman, she's about 70 years old, in jail for 9 years for hanging on to a thumb drive that showed evidence of them cheating in 2020. I hope she gets just as much as what happened to Tina Peters, if not more. We need to see justice. But when you have a corrupt Justice Department, it seems nothing ever happens to these people. All right, let's see. Yeah, this was a pretty funny one. Let's watch this one. I don't know if you've seen this one. We're probably going back to X again. Okay, let's see. Blow this up a little bit. And let's play it.
Because is it me, or does it seem like this week Donald Trump is laying the groundwork for contesting the election by complaining that cheating was taking place in Pennsylvania by suing Bucks County for alleged irregularities? And this is on top of his continual assertion that if he loses, it's because of cheating.
Yeah, that's what he's been laying the groundwork for this, just not in the last week, but in the last umpty-ump months. No election can be fair unless in Donald Trump's mind, unless Donald Trump wins it. And I think we are going to see him both rev up his supporters to contest elections outside of courtrooms and go to every courtroom he can in America where it's relevant to make whatever arguments he can, no matter how far-fetched. We saw
Jonathan,
I've got out last time, but it didn't work out this time.
Finish, Hugh.
It may not work. That may not happen this time. And now I'll let you go, Hugh.
Well, I've just got to say, we're news people, even though we're at the opinion section. It's got to be reported. Bucks County was reversed by the court. and instructed to open up extra days because they violated the law and told people to go home. So that lawsuit was brought by the Republican National Committee, and it was successful. The Supreme Court ruled that Glenn Youngkin was successful. We are news people, even though we have opinions, and we have to report the whole story if we bring up part of the story. So yes, he's upset about Bucks County, but he was right, and he won in court. That's the story.
Uh-oh, upset the Washington.
I'll let you keep going, Jonathan.
No, I don't appreciate being lectured about reporting when many times you come here saying lots of things that aren't.
I won't
based
come
in
back,
fact.
Jonathan. I'm done. I'm done. This is the most unfair election ad I have ever been a part of. You guys are working. That's fine. I'm done.
The Washington Post gets put in their place, and they don't know how to handle. That was pretty good. All right, let's see how NBC News covered the J.D. Vance interview with Joe Rogan. Vance in Joe Rogan interview predicts Trump could win the normal gay guy vote. Vance's appearance on the popular podcast came days after Trump's. Topics included transgender people, Muslims, COVID, and the show Emily in Paris. Okay, not much to that story, is there? Okay, Daily Mail final poll. Trump leads by +3. It's probably +30. Political is hoping for shy Kamala voters. Liz Cheney responds to Trump. She loathes being exposed as a neocon. Look out, Biden is going back out in public. We have to plan ahead for the Jamie Raskin maneuver. The Jamie Raskin is a member of Congress who said they would not certify the election if Trump wins. Even if Trump wins on Tuesday or whenever we find out, sometime in December, there'll still be shenanigans right up to the day of inauguration. California and Nevada voters to decide whether prisoners should be forced to work. I don't know, but I would think, I don't know. But if I was a prisoner, I would think I'd almost want to work just for something to do during the day, wouldn't you? I don't know. Who knows? Maybe not. Kamala to spend election night at Howard University. Okay. A blatant hit piece on a lawn. Bobby Kennedy. This is what I want to do after Trump wins. All right. Let's see what Bobby Kennedy wants to do after Trump wins because, it's 30 minutes long. Okay. Well, we'll probably go ahead and go to YouTube and look up Just In. RFK Jr. details what he wants to do if Trump wins. I can watch that 30-minute video, but we don't have time for that today. Illegal aliens can now sign up for Obamacare starting today. All right, let's see what this one is all about. DACA recipients are able to sign up for Obamacare for the first time. Starting Friday, that would be today, Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals Program recipients can get health insurance under the Affordable Care Act. Yeah, why not? We're giving them money to come in. We're flying them all over the country. We're putting them up in hotels. We're giving them food, cards, thousands and thousands of dollars per month. Might as well give them health care too. What the hell? I don't know when people are going to be tired of it all, but it will come to that eventually. And when it does, ooh, boy, watch out. All right. What happens if Trump and Kamala tie? Let's see what this is. If Trump and Kamala tie, what happens? how the House would pick the president if they tie or if no one gets 270 electoral votes. Okay. There are a few paths across the electoral college map that could lead to them tying. Okay. Some of those scenarios include Republicans winning all. Okay. Well, I want to know what happens. Okay. How would it work? Okay. Each state, regardless of population, casts a single vote for president in a contingent election. Well, that's good news for Republicans because the Republicans have a majority control of 26 state delegations, while the Democrats have a majority control of 22, and 2 states are tied. So if it came down to the 269 electoral vote tie, then a vote in the House would result in a Trump presidency 26-22, and the other 2, one would probably go Democrat, one would probably go Republican, so it'd probably be 27-23. But even if both of them went Democrat, it would still be 26-24. So there you go. In the inevitability that it winds up a dead tie at 269, Trump would win. Okay. NBC panicked over prosecution of Democrats. Yeah, it is nothing but election. But that's what it's going to be for the next 3 days. Just kind of scrolling through here, seeing what I can find. Democrats are using ads on porn sites to convince Trump voters to stay home. Okay, that's interesting. 63 million Americans have voted early. I think that kind of quashes their ability to do anything either. All right, Sean Farash, the guy who imitates Trump. They say, excellent idea. Let's see what his excellent idea is. Oh, it's back on X. I need to meet this kid. We need to do a split screen. Trump talking to Trump. Who are you talking about? Oh, okay. Uh-oh, we have another Trump impersonator, and it's a kid this time. Let's see how this guy does.
Happy Halloween, everybody. I love it. We're going to have an amazing Halloween. We're going to make a lot of candy, more candy than ever before. We're going to have better jobs, better economy, lower gas prices. You already know that by now. But if you don't have any brain cells, obviously, or common sense, you're voting for Kamala Harris. No one likes Kamala and Tampon Tim. But you already know November 5th, vote for me. It's going to be phenomenal. And like I said, have an amazing Halloween. Make a lot of candy. Get a lot of candy, okay? It's going to be phenomenal. Be nice to people. And we're going to make this phenomenal. The best one we've ever seen in 30
Okay. The funny part is that's kind of how he talks. I mean, how he acts with all this. White House already preparing for Trump to win. Let's see, 10 stories buried by the regime media. Yeah, they're just an arm of the government. 10 shocking stories the media buried today. Number 10, this is from the Vigilant Fox on X, of course. X is where the news is. J.D. Vance drops a vaccine bombshell on his personal story. Okay, number 9, Mark Cuban gets met with rude awakening. He also got fired. Kamala Harris's administration has told him, don't do any more interviews. You're killing us. Based mom shuts down abortion extremists live on News Nation. Minute 30. Do we have time to listen to this? I guess so.
Which candidate has the capacity to go like this to everybody? the person who isn't going to change their mind constantly, the person who didn't put Supreme Courts in justice that took my rights away. I don't even need to say that person's name. You know exactly who it is.
So, Jenna, let's get a balanced take on it. Tiffany Justice, co-founder of the Moms for Liberty. How do you believe the issue of not just reproductive rights, but where women are going to be in terms of what they will prioritize in this election?
Yeah, I think Jenna's right. I think American women are infuriated, and we're infuriated about the fact that only a third of children are reading on grade level in America's public schools. Where was my body, my choice during COVID? Yes. Right? So, you know, it's almost 9 o'clock. We spent a lot of time talking about something that is now an issue for the states to handle. And I think it's time we start talking about where we really are in America when it comes to kids. And as far as Jenna's point about which candidate is going to put their arms around everyone, you know what I see? I was at MSG. I gave the invocation on Sunday, and I saw RFK there. I saw Tulsi Gabbard there. I saw people in that audience that have never voted Republican before in their lives, and they're coming together to support Donald Trump. So we're looking towards the future. We're very concerned about the health issues that we're seeing across the country, and making America great again, making America healthy again is something that American moms want.
Do you believe?
Yeah, along with a closed border and groceries people can afford. All right. Oh, actually, I didn't even get through to 10 of them, did I? Well, that's what happens when you just do this stuff live, which is the way I like it because we can just react in real time. So instead of being all prepared, we just look at things and talk about it as it happens. And I think eventually people are going to like this. RFK Jr. masterfully counters Geraldo Rivera's TDS-fueled question about January 6th. Yeah, I don't know about that one. Let's see. Number 5, the White House may have violated Presidential Records Act by altering Biden's garbage remark in the transcript. Yeah, the presidential records, they put an apostrophe in to try to imply that Joe Biden did not call Trump supporters garbage, when in fact, we all heard it with our own ears. But they want you to believe that what you heard is not what you actually heard. Okay, let's see. Is that the end of it? Okay, that is the end of it. So back we go. Ronald Reagan's biggest mistake. I can tell you what Ronald Reagan's biggest mistake was. It was allowing vaccine companies to have immunity from liability. I don't know what this one has about his biggest mistake, but for me, his biggest mistake was giving vaccine companies immunity from liability. And I hope that when RFK Jr. gets in there, that will be repealed. Because the minute there is liability for those companies, that vaccine stuff is out the window. I don't know if you know about this. India wanted studies on the vaccine before Pfizer could come in and do it. You know what they did? Billions of people over there, right? They said, never mind. We're not going to go into India. If we repeal what Ronald Reagan did, the same thing will happen here. Because the minute they are held liable for what they're injecting into people, the game is over. That's why another reason I want Trump to win. Carolina and linemen go on strike. They haven't been paid for 8 weeks. That's FEMA. You really want government to run things? That's how incompetent they are in running everything. Mark Cuban gives a bullshit apology for saying only stupid women support Trump. That's why Kamala Harris administration told him to quit doing interviews. Okay, let's see if we got anything other than, oh yeah, the jobs report came in. Biden's administration claimed that they had 120,000 jobs in October. Guess how many there were? 12,000. Oops. I don't think that's going to help them right before election. Just more lies. Okay, let's see what we got here. Anything? Ayatollah orders retaliatory strike against Israel, but not before the election. Yeah, I don't know anybody. I've never heard of a war or any kind of wars where they post what they're going to do online. And like I said earlier, people have war fatigue. We're tired of wars, okay? People are tired of sending their young people to die for the bankers. It's over. Your bullshit wars and bullshit world is coming to an end. And we, the people, are going to make it happen. Okay. Do we want to listen to Charlie Kirk give a blistering speech? Oh, here we go. A lithium battery recycling plant explodes in Missouri. Yeah, and when you see a fire from a lithium battery, it is incredible. You can't put these things out. And like I said earlier, I think electric cars are going to go away. I think magnetic energy is our future. Clean, silent, powerful. All right. Gas prices nationwide. Yeah, another thing we need to come down. Mercedes electric vehicle bursts into flames in a driveway. It's like a bomb going off. Yeah, you don't want one of those electric vehicles in your garage when that thing catches fire. Goodbye, house. Brussels wants a new CIA for Europe. I don't know why you'd want that. Let's see. We're almost at the end of our hour here today. And I'll be glad next week. Probably going to be more of the same of this on Monday. But I'll be glad next week when we can get back to something besides the election. I know it'll still be election and election talk and arguing and fighting and all that kind of stuff, but maybe we can get back into some different kind of news starting next week. Because I don't know about you guys, but I'm about had it up to here with election coverage. The only bad part about that is, now that I think about it, the campaign for 2028 starts on Wednesday, November 6th. Campaigning is just a full-time nightmare now. And that's really all politicians care about anyway, is getting reelected. Getting reelected, enriching themselves, gaining more power. They don't care about you, people. They do not care about you. All right, let's see if we can find one more thing before we head out here today. 300 students tested for tuberculosis in Atlanta. Okay. They use the same faulty test that they use for COVID. NBC buries the truth in the final paragraph. Yeah, that's how they roll. They know most people just look at the headline. All right, come on, give me something. One more thing. All right, let's see Megyn Kelly spar with Bill Maher over who is the real fascist.
In the news this week,
Okay, let's turn this up and see what these two say.
We thought when the Ukraine war started, Putin would be isolated. He's not isolated. He had the BRICS nation. That's Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa, and now 4 or 5 other countries. It's about half the world's population, about 35% of the GDP. He's got North Korean troops in his war in Ukraine now. He's very chummy with China. China and Russia always hated each other, not anymore, and Iran. These are the dictator countries. There's a very World War II feeling here. When the dictator countries are getting together, I mean, in World War II, what did Hitler and the Japanese have in common? Nothing, except they saw the world one way, fascism. They all have to do it in their different way. Iran is a fascist country in their own way. So is China, so is Russia, Saudi Arabia, you could say also.
You're so wrong.
Somehow, the world seems to be dividing between the good guy countries, the democratic countries, and these autocracies. And if your guy gets in, we're going to be on the wrong side of this one.
Okay. If my guy gets in, I think we'll go back to the time that we had when he was president, which is the only time we didn't start a war and get involved in a war. Did Putin?
That's not true.
Did Putin?
Jimmy Carter never fired a shot.
Putin did not invade Ukraine until Biden took over. We had the disastrous withdrawal from Afghanistan, which projected weakness through the world. People understood that we were enfeebled, and that is what was provocative. Weakness is provocative. I feel like Trump destabilized these people. They didn't know what to expect of him. Next thing you know, he's bombing Soleimani. Trump did strategic strikes that had people on their heels. They didn't know what he might do to them. And we did not have Putin invade
It's what he might do to
Ukraine.
us that I'm a little more worried about. I feel like
We've had 4 years of Trump. We've had 4 years of Trump.
Yeah.
Trump did not go after
So
his
what?
political enemies with the Department of Justice.
Right.
That was Joe Biden and Kamala Harris.
Well, we had Hitler in the 30s and things were okay, and then we had Hitler in the 40s and they got way worse.
Oh,
just because we had him.
He hit his Hitlerism the first 4 years, and it's going to come out in full force.
He tried to do things like that. He tried to do dictatorial
Joe Biden
fascist things,
actually did.
and he was stopped.
Joe Biden has flouted the law when it comes to these student loan giveaway programs. He's flouted the law. Supreme Court opinions that told him he didn't have the right to do it, and he openly said, I will get around the Supreme Court. He did it with respect to rent abatement programs, the same exact thing. And then he and Kamala Harris unleashed this Department of Justice against their political enemy, Donald Trump, their #1 chief rival for the presidency.
Okay. Well,
Is it funny? Because they did it.
We'll see.
You want to talk fascism? That's fascist.
I think history is not going to be kind to your point of view, but I appreciate you coming on and saying it.
Yeah, well, there you have it. Bill Maher is a dedicated leftist. Megyn Kelly is on the right. And she's right. Trump has already been president. Now he's going to turn into Hitler? Okay. I think he's putting a good team together, and I think we need them in office if we are hoping to have any kind of change at all. If we stay with the status quo and elect this empty vessel, the most incompetent person I've ever seen run for president, there lies a problem that we may not be able to solve in the future, because the border will remain open. Millions and millions over the next 4 years will be allowed to come on in here. They'll send them to all the red states to overwhelm any chance of ever winning another election ever again. And will be mob Democrat ruled from now on. They'll stack the Supreme Court. They'll get rid of the Electoral College. And it'll be all downhill from there. And everyone will look back in 20 years and go, wow, why didn't we stop this? All right, that's going to do it for this Aloha Friday. I thank you for joining me. And I will see you on Monday. Everybody have a great weekend.